Most beautiful, most beautiful. Most beautiful, most beautiful. Everything changes. I'm captivated. I'll never be the same with just one look. Everything changes. I'm captivated. I'll never be the same. One thing I desire, only this I seek, is to dwell, dwell, dwell here forever. This will be my posture, laying at your feet, just to dwell, dwell, dwell here forever. Dearest Father, closest friend, most beautiful, most beautiful. Dearest Father, closest friend, most beautiful, most beautiful. One thing I desire, only this I seek, just to dwell, dwell, dwell here forever. This will be my posture, or laying at your feet, just to dwell, dwell, dwell here forever. Dearest Father, closest friend, most beautiful, most beautiful, most beautiful, most beautiful. I fix my eyes on you. You're beautiful, so beautiful. I'm so in love with you. You're beautiful, you're beautiful. I fix my eyes on you. You're beautiful, so beautiful. I'm so in love with you. You're beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful. Most beautiful, most beautiful. Most beautiful, most beautiful. I just wanna wait. I just wanna dwell. I just wanna wait. I just wanna dwell. I just wanna wait on you, my dwell in who you are. Just wonder, everything changes. I'm captivated. I'll never be the same with just wonder. Everything changes. I'm captivated. I'll never be the same. This confession from the start I could feel hopes and fears. All those years gone by, I was searching for you. I was searching. Somehow my heart got broken. There were no guarantees. I swore you owed me something, but I owe you everything. Upside down, should I know it? What is true, what is real? Sometimes love lets you find yourself. I'm still searching for you. I'm still searching for you. Somehow my heart got broken. There were no guarantees. I swore you owed me something, but I owe you everything. So let me feel it now. Nothing to figure out. Maybe the pain just shows. I need to let it go. Somehow my heart got broken. There were no guarantees. I swore you owed me something, but I owe you everything.
Take heart, weary soul. Lift your tired eyes. Lay down the fears of old. Be still, troubled mind. Peace will rest upon storms that are raging.
Can we just have the music be put off, please? Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome here to the Business Perspectives platform. And we trust that you will have a wonderful time here with us this morning, and that the time here will be informative and very helpful to those of you who are in the business sector. And we are overjoyed that you are here, but also like at this time to extend a warm welcome, a special welcome to our honored guest, Marika Kroene, who will be here to share some information with us. And won't we just give her a warm welcome, please? So our theme for this event is called The Changing Economic Landscape. And this theme came about through my conversations with various businessmen. And as we had these conversations of the changes in the economy, we thought it necessary to have such an event where we could disseminate relevant information regarding the economic changes, new developments, and various opportunities that would arise, especially for those in the business sector. But we are looking forward to some information that could really help us in terms of how we can prepare for what is coming. Our program for today has 2 sessions, each 50 minutes, with a break in between of 20 minutes, and then also a Q&A at the end. So during the sessions, it would be good if you could take notes or make notes, write down your questions, so that by the time we come to the Q&A, we don't have to wait or think about questions and about what was said, so that we could also use our time effectively, because 1 o'clock, the school here next door to us, all the parents will start arriving, and parking will become a problem. So we are trying to aim to finish before 1, and there is some extra time in case there are more questions that arise. Our restrooms are at the back. If you go up the stairs there, it will be right in front of you, and there's the ladies and the gents. Once again, from my side, my name is JP Ewish. It's great to have you with us, and without any further ado and wasting any time, I would like to invite Marika Kroene to do our first session. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Good morning, delegates, everybody. You most probably wonder what gives me the right to stand here. I just want to introduce myself, give a little background of what I've done over the past 40 years before I actually ended up in Walvis Bay. I've been working in many industries in the country, like banking, telecom, NAM water, 3 mines, in NAMCOR. I'm currently working at LSS as a retiree, a recovered retiree, let me call it that way. The reason why I'm here, and I would like to share this, is we all know that there's a lot of discoveries made in the country, oil discoveries. I was in the lucky or privileged position that I worked at NAMCOR at the time when there was nothing. So being an executive member at NAMCOR gave me a lot of insights into how it came about, what happened, and what is the expectation of the country. I'm also currently busy doing a doctorate in business administration, and my thesis is about leading the local content development in the oil and gas industry. So apart from my work experience, I'm also having some academic knowledge of what's supposed to happen. Now, good morning, sir. I've stole your space. Anyway, there were significant discoveries in the Orange Basin, mainly in the Lüderitz area. But there's also a lot of exploration, oil exploration, happening alongside the coast of Namibia. There are a few oil majors that are drilling in the Walvis Bay area. There's a lot of there are companies drilling in the northern part of Namibia, and then there is the drilling of Recon Africa in the Kavango area. So there's a lot of oil exploration happening in the country at the moment. Some of the oil majors that are involved in this process is Total Energies, Shell, and Gulp. These 3 industries already made discoveries, huge ones. So how does it impact us? Now, considering what we have in the country, there's a lot of unemployment currently. So I know all of us has expectations. How is this oil and gas going to benefit us? How it's going to benefit our children? How it's going to benefit us as business people? What do we need to prepare, and how do we go about getting ready for this? Now, if we get it right, they say Namibia is currently preparing to generate 1 million barrels of oil per day. So it's a lot. But what is the benefit for us in that whole process? So I'm going to take you through processes. What you need, where can you get assistance? The industries that will help you financially with finances, with support, with information, where those companies I'm going to cover. I'm also going to cover some of the industries where we will benefit from, and how. And then I will also cover some of the standards that we need to meet. What makes it difficult? What makes it easy for us? What are the areas that we can venture in and what is needed? Now, one of the biggest things that it's happening in the oil and gas is investments, foreign direct investments. There's a lot of money needed to actually get that oil out. And as a Namibian country, I don't think we have that kind of money. That's why we really need other countries to come and invest in take the money out. So we need to understand where the 10% is coming from and why Namibia is only having 10% stake in each and every of those discoveries. And understanding that 10% stake, it accounts to billions. And that is money that we need to pay to get the money out. It's not what we are getting back. We need to understand that for every, let's say I'm taking the Total or the Shell discovery, the ones that were made first. Namibia will at least have to, for their 10%, contribute about 10 billion for the exploration part. But for now, we don't pay because most of those companies are doing the drilling and they carry Namibia or Namcor until such time that there is production. Namcor only pay when they start generating funds, then they start paying off the drilling cost. So if we understand those kind of things, it's fine. Now, one of the major parts of this oil and gas is that when we are talking about the discoveries, it's offshore, it's not on land, apart from the Kavango one. How many people can work on a drill rig? 500 to 600 people at least, or mostly. If it's a huge one, it can be about 1,000 employees. So, and most of them is highly skilled employees, technical employees. So how many do we have in country to actually be able to do that? So the thing that we need to think of, not put our mind to how many people can we get to work on the rig. So where do we benefit? We benefit for the supply to those rigs because what they need is huge. It's a lot of things. Now I have listed a few which I will share with you guys so that we can talk about those things, and then I will also talk about the standards required for those. But now, being able to, as whether you are a business person that have already started or if you are still planning, where do I go for funding? Where do I go for assistance? Which institutions in the country can actually help us to get off the ground with the business? And one of them is, I think we all know it, Development Bank, where you can actually go for financial assistance provided that you know what business you want to go into. And that requires a proper business plan that you need to put up. You need to have products, whether you have a manufacturing business or a service business. So the rules of the Development Bank applies here. They offer advisory services to entrepreneurs and assist them to develop accordingly. So that is, I think most of us know about Development Bank. But then there is the Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board, shortened NIPDP. They facilitate investments in Namibia and guides local content requirements. Now, They are very busy in the oil space right now. It's important that you understand that you can go there for advice. If you have proper things, they can really also guide you to where to find investment. And they offer resources and support to entrepreneurs that are looking for business opportunities. And not only in oil and gas, but also maybe in the green hydrogen, if I have to mention that. So there are opportunities. And then the Ministry of Mines is also a good source for information. They offer information on licensing and compliance and all kinds of things that you need to do. So there you can also get some advice. The Namibia Chamber of Mines, the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, NCCI, they also provide some guidance to entrepreneurs. They also have information available for and opportunities available if you just go into inquire. These institutions are created for business people, not existing ones, also for new ones. Go and ask the question, because it's no need to just sit and struggle this way. Then there's the Namibia Small Business Development Agency, NSBDA. They are helping SMEs. There's also the local business development centers where we can go and inquire. Then there's the financial institutions, micro-lending, big lending, depending on your business. Technical, the TVET Center, Technical and Vocational Training Centers, where we can go. They not only provide advice, but also have training systems where you can upgrade your employees and stuff. And then international development agencies, it's like the UNDP, they also provide partnerships and those kind of things. And then industry association like NAMPOA. NAMPOA stands for the Association Namibia Petroleum Operators Association. They provide a lot of information that's needed for the oil and gas industry. It's all the oil majors or all the oil companies that are operating in Namibia, the international ones. They are regulated by this institution. So they have all kinds of functions. They have an office in Windhoek where you can get information for local entrepreneurs. Now, the oil and gas, currently, there are 3 stages at the moment. There's the exploration phase, where many of the companies are busy with. Then you have the appraisal phase. Now, those discoveries that has been made since 2022 until now, they are now in the appraisal phase. What does it mean? Appraisal phase is basically when they made the discovery, they're now doing some analysis to see what is the size and impact and the volumes that you can get out of these discoveries. So this information is needed to determine whether these discoveries is commercially viable. So they need to make money out of it to see whether they will actually get their money back. Can they now go into development, or would they eventually go into operations? But now, this phase are very close to ending. And then they go into a phase where they need to start construction. So now, there is a saying at the oil and gas conference that they had 2 weeks ago, or I said already 3 again. They stated that they anticipate to get first oil by 2029 or earlier. So, or earlier, I don't think it's much earlier, it could maybe a little bit later, but the dream is to have it earlier. There is a rush to get this done because we need to understand there are other players that are also playing a role in this. Has to do with the environment, the green hydrogen, the move to a cleaner environment. So at some point, the oil and gas will sort of phasing out. We are using lesser plastics, which is emanating from that. There are cleaner energy, and we work in both industries. So by 2050, 50, they're actually trying to get zero emissions from carbohydrates. So we really need to see how quickly can we benefit. So we still have time, but the quicker we get into the business, into the discovery and start producing, the better we can benefit from it. Now, in the construction phase, when they get into the construction phase, that would take about 6 to 8 years for construction. They anticipate that we can expect 5,000 jobs from that phase, but 500 is direct employment. Direct employment is now on the platform itself. Then about 2,000 indirect jobs. Indirect jobs is related to the oil and gas, but they're not on the rig itself. They are working in different areas. And then they say 2,500 induced jobs. Now, what does it mean if I say induced jobs? Induced jobs is the money that workers that are paid through the oil and gas, they also spend their money in the country. That means the money that's available for spending will be more. That means we need to improve on that services also, so more jobs can be created on that side. Now, according to the studies, they said the primary drivers for these jobs would be more in the transport industry. They reckon there would be something like plus minus 953 jobs. Wholesale and retail, 598 jobs. Private household services, around 595. So that is just for the construction phase. Now the production phase, which would last for about 20 to 25 years, more or less, the expected job creation would be around 7,000, of which 600 will be direct jobs, 600 will be indirect jobs, but 5,800 will be induced jobs. That is now. And this is where we need to benefit. This is the areas that we need to infiltrate. So the primary drivers, there are others also, but the primary drivers again, it's transport industry, the wholesale and retail that might increase with 1,671 jobs, the private households with 1,007. Private households that in its accommodation, basically. People need to stay somewhere. How do we make that available? So, the types of businesses and jobs supporting the oil and gas industry in Namibia. So you get oil field services companies. That is now the companies that provide essential services such as drilling, well completion and maintenance. These basically includes companies that are dealing with specializing in hydraulic fracturing, cementing, mud logging. So this is highly, highly specialized jobs. But I'm giving them all because I don't know where you could feature in. So I'm giving you all these things so that you can see what can I do, where will I get the funding, how can I position myself for what the oil and gas industry can offer. Then there's logistics and transportation firms that offers transportation services for equipment, for personnel, for materials to and from the drilling sites. And then these companies may provide specialized transportation solutions, including heavy haulage and marine logistics. Now, in Namibia, we have quite a number of logistics and transformation companies that serves, and we're in Walvis Bay, I've counted, I stopped counted at 42 just in Walvis Bay. In the country itself, it's over 200 logistics companies, some very small, some very big, some 100% local, some with international support. So we need to see where we are going to position ourselves in that one. When I get to the end, I will basically explain a little bit of the what we need to actually operate in these areas. The construction and engineering firms, they would be quite a number. These ones engage in the construction of the oil rigs, the pipelines and the support facilities like, there's of whether we're going to have a refinery or not, that's still some on the discussions, whether you need warehousing, because these things need to be kept somewhere. And then the engineering, and it's more engineering services goes with the design in the planning and the execution of these. Now, equipment supply companies, this is also a place where we can actually play a big role. Supply specialized equipment such as drilling rigs, pumps, valves, and safety gear. Manufacturing and distributors of oil field machineries, whether you import it and provide, or whether we are manufacturing it here, it's opportunities that's there. Then we have environmental and waste management services, where there's a big emphasis on environmental consulting, how to deal with waste disposal in such remedial services. And then these companies focuses on ensuring compliance with environmental regulations, not only local, but also international, and then to ensure sustainable practices. And then safety and training providers. These ones offer training programs, emergency responses, operational procedures specific to the oil and gas industry, and then the companies that provide safety equipment and compliance solutions. So it's a very good space for us to play in here. One of the things that are very important, those people, wherever they are, whether they are direct recruitment, whether they're indirect, they need to eat. So there's a space for us in the catering and accommodation services. Supply food and lodging for workers on the remote sites. So they have to get off the rigs from time to time. I already see that even the vessels, as they're coming in, tourism really benefit from that because they want to see the country. You cannot stay on the rig forever. Some of them are going home, but from time to time they also need to be here. So there is a space for companies that specialize in camp management and hospitality services. In terms of information technology and software development, I don't know how many IT people are here. There's a space. It's develop software solutions for data management, project management, and operational efficiencies. The IT firms providing cybersecurity, automation, and digital transformation services. Now, these services is not only for the direct use of the oil companies. They have their big systems. It's for the companies that are providing services to these institutions. They also need these systems. And what I've picked up, only a few meetings that I have attended the past few weeks are companies that are providing IT systems and solutions for the service providers already. They come up with all kinds of stuff. So we really need to gear ourselves to be ready for that space. There's a lot of students at the university study IT. It's something to start thinking of. Then there's a space for consulting firms. These consulting firms offer strategic solution consulting services, focuses on market analysis, regulatory compliances, and local content development, and then provide financial advisory services to oil and gas companies. So this, and then there's also a space for research and development. So the academics around here, it's not only related to the oil and gas. I'm one of them that are studying, doing a thesis on local content at the moment. And that's why I feel comfortable to stand here. Because the information that I'm giving you right now, it's not only from a practical experience, but it's also a very academic. I have done a lot of research and see what's been done in other countries, what are the services and where did they actually benefited mostly from. So those are the type of businesses. Then I just want to give you a high level, because we have children and we also want to see what can they study to actually make sure they benefit from this discoveries or possible future discoveries, because I believe there's still a lot to come, is geologists and geophysicists, so, and then drilling engineers and technicians, production operators. It just says on a high level. There are lots of small ones in those components. Health and safety and environmental officers, logistics coordinators, people in that fields, project management, maintenance technicians, administrative and support staff, sales and marketing professionals, environmental scientists, medical. Because remember, out of these things that I've mentioned, and I didn't even touch it, I said retail. But what is retail? It's all the shops that need, the wholesalers, the medical services. So our hospitals will have to increase or improve and get more, or clinics. And so there's a whole array of businesses that we can go into. But now, how do I qualify to participate? Okay? This is the one part. And in terms of service provision, service is soft skills, not products and stuff. To serve the offshore vessels, local industry needs to develop certification for specific services. So if you are in the health environment, make sure you have proper certification. If you are in the safety side, make sure your certification are done. There are your processes, your certification processes are spelled out, because what they are looking for is very detailed information on how did you get to this certification, what is the processes that you follow. There's the biggest thing is that for us to benefit from this, we need to comply with ISO standard. It's international standards, ISO. You start with ISO 9000, 9001, 9004, but there are hundreds. I've looked at it yesterday. There are so many standards that we need to comply with. And it's important that whatever industry you endeavor to venture into, is go on the internet and look at what ISO standards you need to comply with. Because currently, this is the biggest challenge for Namibian companies. We need to comply with those ISO standards. Even they've done a study, Deloitte actually have done a study which they presented at the oil and gas conference, the last one. And they stated there are 80% of the services that is needed comes from local content. Ne? The other 20% is more specific to the oil rigs and will most probably be used and sourced by the oil majors themselves from the countries where they're coming from. But from that 80% of services, only 45% of Namibia companies provide of the services that is needed. But that 45% doesn't meet all the standards. So even the ones that have the services available need to upgrade. That means we have to make sure we comply with ISO standards, we comply with the requirements of the oil industry. And coming from this industry, it's a very, let me say the word, it's a very snobbish industry. They set very high standards. They expect the best. In countries like Malaysia and Indonesia and those, they even start at school. They already from a school level select the brightest kids, and then they put them in a stream for oil and gas. And then just the best performers are then chosen to send to university, and then some of them go into the vocational environment. Then, when they are finished with that, if you want to be a driller, and you've drilled, you've now qualified as a drilling engineer, you literally have to start as a rustabout. What is a rustabout? It's literally the lowest level in the drilling hierarchy. And you have to work yourself out. And what they are saying, and specifically in Indonesia, they have part of it where they say that if you start there, you have a target. Within 3 years or 5 years, you have to be at this level. If you don't meet those targets, it means you don't meet it, then you check out, you have to go do something else because you're not competent enough to do it. So there's a lot of things that plays in this field. They're very strict on admission. And for us to really benefit from it, we really have to up our game. And not a little bit, seriously. There are qualifications, so like our qualifications need to improve. Even what they're doing now through the Petro Fund, I didn't mention the Petro Fund. Through the Petro Fund, they also send students of people that are already working for further studies abroad. Currently, they have a program that goes to Indonesia to be trained specifically in the drilling area. They have sent over 200 Namibians already to Aberdeen, the universities in Scotland, to be trained and have master's degrees. You will be surprised to see how many people already benefited from this. And I'm saying this because I'm a board member of the Petro Fund. I have been there for the past 6 years, so I'm very involved in that capacity development that's been done through this. Now, I have to explain to you how Namibia is one of the countries that actually was very forward-thinking in this. And we had a session in London once where we talked about how we prepare for a possible oil discovery. And the people were asking, but where do you get the funds from? And our government was very clever. Already in the 1990s, when they put up the Petroleum Act, they already decided that everyone that gets a license, a petroleum license, must pay a certain percentage to the Petro Fund that would then use that money to build capacity within the country in the oil and gas. So far they have focused on exploration. Now they are venturing into the other vocational disciplines that's there. So, and I was very pleased to hear that other countries didn't do that. They only realized later that they should have included that. And what Namibia did right is to basically, when they got the license, that payment started. They didn't wait for development or for production to start paying that levy. So we already benefit from the day that the license were issued. Because many of these explorations never get even to the appraisal side. You get the block, you drill, there's nothing, that's the end of the project. But already at that point, Namibia have already benefited for the education of our staff. So it looks like sometimes that we are doing things backward, but there's a lot of things that Namibia is doing right in terms of this oil and gas thing. So just for that. It's important to start early if we want to be in time. Your business must be strong. You must meet all the standards. And then, there's one very important thing that we need to understand. To operate in this field, you need to be insured. Let's use transportation. Say you start your own transport company and you want to transport equipment for Shell. They will expect you to have insurance that nothing will go wrong, and you must then be able to be strong enough if you have an accident and there's damage to the equipment that you can carry the cost of that damage. So it's really a very tough industry. So when you start your industry, find out what kind of insurance do I need to prepare for? What do I need to have in place? What is the downside of it? And I'm putting a gloom picture here, but it's possible. But I just want us to understand there's a lot of things that we as business people need to put in place so that we can actually prepare ourselves, because the rate that international companies wants to enter Namibia, we are hub. We are now the place to be. Everybody wants to be in Namibia. So if we want to benefit from this local content opportunities, we have to be able to compete with those international companies. Get our standards right, do our things right. Then in terms of of the products and materials line, there are also a few standards or things that you need to consider. It's basically when you provide steel services, make sure that you have the proper certification for the materials that you provide. These materials need to be certified at the place of origin, at the mills, those kind of things. There's no room for substandard equipment and material. Vessels, electrical services, there are certain sort of standards that we need to comply with that is available. I have done a little bit of search on The internet information is easily available. And yes, we are in the information world. Use things like ChatGPT. Just type in, how do I start? What is the standards that I need to comply with to start a material supply company? You will get it. Not everything is 100% right, but then it gives you a space where you can start researching and then going a little bit further and find your way. For me, it's the best time for us because information is readily and freely available. We don't have to sit and struggle, but it's important that we understand that we as a country, we as individuals have to put in a lot of effort. We need to equip ourselves with the necessary skills, qualification that is needed to actually make this work. So it's not only the money. Yes, we need money to get there, but there are also places in the country where you can go and find the funding and the assistance that's needed, because we all want to benefit from this. And let's prepare ourselves to provide 80% of the local content that's available. Yes. That's it. Thank you. Shall we ask questions now while it's still fresh? Anybody? Morning. Institutions like NIPDP, they provide assistance if you have you have to have a plan. You have to have a product that you want to develop, and they can assist you with the necessary guidance and also find an investor for you if you don't have one. This is one of the things that they pledged the other day at the conference, to make sure that as many as possible Namibians benefit. There are funding somewhere, government have some funding like Ministry of Trade, where you really have to come with a proper plan, which doesn't need to be from a specialized person that so big that they understand you are SME and you're busy growing. Those also NCCI, they do have the facilities. They also train people to come up with their own business plans. So it's there. It's just we don't know that it's there. So the few instances, I've put 10 institutions, and I share the presentation where you can actually go and source for assistance. The 10 companies that I mentioned before. So to go see where you can get help. But it also depends on the magnitude of the funds. And while we have time, starting big is not always the good thing. Starting small and getting your quality right, your standards right, then you can grow the numbers. Because sometimes we want to start huge and then we don't get the things right on the ground level. So let's use the time now to come up with things that we need to, specifically if it's to do with manufacturing or where you want to do even consulting. Consulting costs nothing. You need a consultant to do your business plan. But even the people that are doing the business plans, if you want to grow, start giving advice and assistance to companies for free, because it allows you failure if you do it for free. The moment that you start charging for it, they expect you to be perfect. You understand how this thing works. So gradually start building your service delivery. If you provide recruitment services, start small and build it bigger. But make sure you meet the standards, that you do a good job in the process. So people, you don't want comebacks. Make sure your after sales are spot on, that you're always available. Because what I experience is, as much as we want to do volumes, the query that even the company where I work for now, they are very demanding on the service levels. Our people are not up to standard. The people that we are using is not well trained. They don't have the necessary qualifications. And you know where we are coming from. We specifically in the logistics, sometimes people are coming with only grade 10, grade 12 into the system. We are past the stage that you cannot venture into further studies. We now have to start paying our people or train our people to get to a higher level of standard, which is required by these industries. And we, business owners, we also have to equip ourselves with skills. Training, there's a lot of free training on the internet by very, like University of Cambridge, Harvard has a few free courses that you can do. So they really, we cannot say I don't have it. There are very, very good courses available because everybody has a responsibility, and it's while I'm talking about it. These companies that are providing, that are like the Totals and the Shells, when they give you a project, they will ask you, what are you doing to the community? So they always have a component where you have to say, this is my corporate social responsibility. I will, with the money that you pay me, I will build a school. Or I will repair Walvis Bay streets. You have to have something that you are passionate about, which you will give back to the community. So that is an absolute requirement. Companies that are currently providing services to these companies, they must give a report to the oil majors on a monthly basis. This is what you've promised. How far is it? They want to see the evidence that you have actually gave back to the community. So when you do your business plan, or also think about, from the money that I'm going to earn, how much am I going to give back to the community? Which causes am I going to support, basically? Mm. Mm. Government has a policy. They are working on a yeah, it's in draft form now, local content development policy, which they are working on, where they actually forces this oil majors to make use of Namibian service providers in products and services. But it's also our responsibility to make sure that we support government in that policy that they've now creating, that we have the services available. At the Ministry of Mines, and I've put them on here as a source of information where you can actually go to and say, what can the ministry do to assist us to do it right? Is there any funding that we can get from the ministry? And they have a lot of information which they can share. They can also direct you to institutions that they have collaboration with to assist you with those kind of things. So I have now spoken on a very high level, but there's a lot of detail. If it's so required that we have to go into the detail, that's important. That's why I'm doing the study that I'm doing. So the questions that you are coming forth is the questions that I'm now going to research and find out where can we find these things, so that we can make it easier for the Namibians to benefit. But there's also another important role. We as leaders have a role to play. And we cannot only just want to ask, what are we doing and what can we do to actually make it work? Because what is our responsibility as a Namibian nation to actually enforce this local content policies, to make sure that we get the best benefit from it. So we really have to also step up our game and not just to want, but also try to give solutions to get because the policy is there. It will be, and in fact, although it's in draft form, it's already implemented. It's already in process. So if people are applying for a mining a petroleum license, that is already a requirement that they have to start working on this. I said catering and stuff. The challenge that we have is that the standards that are up there is severely high. They are using 5-star chefs for the drill rigs. So how many 5-star chefs do we have in Namibia to start with? Institutions like Midgard have already upgraded to meet the standards of these to upgrade to a 7-star institution. So even, and what will happen to the chefs that they are training? They will be grabbed by these people. Because if we want Namibians to benefit, we really have to step up our game. And I know that they're struggling to get people or chefs at that standard. Now they import expatriates. We don't want that. So where do we go? We must then send our children to go and train outside and come back and come and but the problem is they go outside and they stay outside. How do we get them back? You know how many people has been trained by Namibians to come and upgrade their qualifications? They don't come back. Environmentalists, finance people, engineers. We have to, need to create the opportunities so they can find jobs. Sorry. Yep. No. You have it right. The companies that apply at the Ministry of Mines for mining license, before the moment that the ministry issue the license, me, the applicant of the license holder, have to pay money to the Petro Fund, which is a Namibian institution that will use that money to upgrade our people to go work at those rigs. So you don't need to have a license to participate in Petro Fund. Petro Fund, what they are doing is they identify children from different areas in the country. They send them through school. They send them to university. There's a lot of. They actually also upgraded the faculty at UNAM that deal with oil and gas. Geologists, and they to actually meet the standards. So there's a lot of geologists that are going through UNAM that are already meeting the standards. Then they're also assisting these people to find jobs with the oil majors. What they then do, they also then take employees from these institutions, send them to the UK, send them to France, send them wherever to go in Canada, to go and study in that oil companies to improve their studies. This is what Petro Fund is doing with the money that they get from the license holders. And then they advertise every year around August, they advertise in the newspapers so the children can see whether they can and then apply. So it's open for everyone. Yeah, it's the lifespan of the license. Yeah. Yeah, one well. Yeah. No, it depends. It's like Rossing. It's been granted a mining license for 20 years or 25 years, and then they find new things, and then they increase the license. So. I have a lot of talks about oil refineries, but that's my personal opinion. A refinery is only possible if we have the offset, if we have a market for the petroleum that we produce here, and it's big enough that we can have it on site, and we can export. But before we need to know what we have and what we can produce here. And I think what they are also, if we have a refinery, it will be for the 10% of NAMCO that will be sort of processed here in country, and not necessarily the oil that belongs to Total, because they have their own refinery, and Gulf, they have their own refinery. Qatar have their own refinery. So there are all the people that are playing in this field, that have ownership in that. So if we as a country, NAMCOR, can have a market for, then obviously it can be built, but it all depends on the return of investment. What will you? There's only one company, and it was, I think, the first ones, it was issued in the 1970s. That doesn't have a NAMCOR 10%. NAMCOR owns 10 to 20% in each and every license that's been issued since 1990, except for that one. So it's a requirement. NAMCOR is also sort of buying their own blocks so that they can generate. Yeah. For now, the ones that they have, they farm out. This is get investors to assist with the drilling process, because the drilling is where the biggest money is, which you have no guarantee of getting back. So government doesn't want to take that risk to spend so much money and then you get a dry run. I can recall I was still working at Valencia, it was 2010 around. There was a Brazilian company that was drilling, and all they got was a bottle of oil. Whether it was true or not, but there was nothing. So all those money they spent into that drilling result into zero. So there's a big risk in the exploration. So that's why NAMCOR prefer to have that 10%, and they don't contribute to the expense, the drilling expense. They are basically carried until I think they have one or two that they are carried until development, that is when construction begins, but most of them they are carried until operation. So once they are oil, then they start paying the past cost that they were supposed to do.
Okay, so the figure you were talking about earlier, about $10 billion, was it Namibian dollars?
No, the exploration, you're only talking US. No. This portion that you don't talk Namibian. No, I must say, while I was sitting at Exco, at NAMCOR, I felt my brain was bursting about the numbers. And then they have to convert it into Namibian dollars just for everybody to understand. And then you got a fright of your life and said, let's go back to US. So there's a lot of money for the country, but there's also a lot of money that we need to get the benefit from it. So I hope I've given you a little bit of an insight of what lays ahead, and it's things that can be explored. And once I've completed with my thesis, maybe I can share a little bit more. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mareka. I think that was really very informative. Do you agree? Okay, so obviously with a lot of information comes a lot of work, right? But I also like to take the opportunity to extend a special welcome to the Honorable Governor of the Erongo region, Neville Andre. Let's just give him a warm round of applause. I understand that you took a long trip just to be here. Thank you so much for making the effort and taking out the time to be with us here this morning. We really appreciate it. So we are going to have a break time, and that will be for about 20 minutes. And we have food boxes there at the back that each one of you can collect, and then also the restrooms for those who came late. The restrooms are just there through the door there, up the stairs. and the ladies and gents is there. So after 20 minutes, we'll gather again and we'll start the next session. So thank you.
Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou my best life by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my life. Be thou my wisdom, be thou my true word. I ever with thee, and thou with me, Lord. Thou my great Father, and I thy true Son. Thou in me dwelling, and I with thee one. Riches I need not, no man's empty praise. Thou my inheritance now and always. Thou and thou only, first in my heart. High King of heaven, my treasure thou art. High King of heaven, my victory won. May I reach heaven's joy, O bright and sun. Heart of my own heart will ever be found. Still be my vision, O Lord of all. Still be my vision, oh Lord of all.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my
see decay. Come, most precious Savior, come, most Holy One, come, beautiful Savior, come, our perfect love. I've been dreaming of Eden. I've been longing for your light, looking forward to that day when there'll be no more darkness and no more night. Come, most precious Savior, come, most worthy One, come, beautiful Savior, come, our perfect love. You are making all things new. I see a new city, Eden restored. See living waters and fullness of joy. I see glory, your kingdom come. I see the Lamb and the glory of God. I see a new city, Eden restored. I see life eternal and fullness of joy. I see glory, your kingdom come. Heaven on earth and the King is the Son. Oh, come, most precious Savior, come, most worthy One, come, beautiful Savior, come, our perfect love. Come, Lord Jesus, come. You are making all things new.
Faithful, you are always faithful. Patient, you are always patient. I have found you in the stillness, in the quiet. I have heard you in the fountain and the flood. There is nothing that could ever separate me. You have paid for all my sin with your own blood. is relentless, and your kindness leads me to repentance. Oh, your love is like an all-consuming fire. It is passionate and will not be contained. The desire of my heart is just to know you, to behold your perfect beauty all my days. And I know you'll never let me go. Spirit, help me reach the end. And when I fall, to start again. And I know that I'm never on my own. You're my savior, you're my friend. You are faithful to the end. To the end. All my sins you have covered for me. Oh, your love is like no other, Jesus. All my sins you have covered for me. Oh, your love is like no other, Jesus. All my sins you have covered for me. Oh, your love is like no other, Jesus. All my sins you have covered for me. Oh, your love is like no other, Jesus. I know you'll never let me go. Spirit, help me reach the end. When I fall, to start again. And I know I'm never on my own. You're my savior, you're my friend. You are faithful to the end. To the end.
Jesus, thank you, Jesus.
All my words fall short. I've got nothing new. How could I express all my gratitude? I could sing these songs as I often do, but every song must end,
And you never do. So I lift up my hands and praise you again and again. 'Cause all that I have is a hallelujah, hallelujah. And I know it's not much, but I've nothing else fit for a king except for a heart singing hallelujah. just one move, with my arms stretched wide, I will worship you. So I lift up my hands and praise you again and again, 'cause all that I have is a hallelujah, hallelujah. And I know it's not much, but I've nothing else fit for a king except for a heart singing hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah, come on, my soul, don't you get shy on me. Lift up your song. You've got a lion inside of those lungs. Get up and praise the Lord. Come on, my soul, don't you get shy on me. Lift up your song. You've got a lion inside of those lungs. Get up and praise the Lord. Oh, come on, my soul, don't you get shy on me. Lift up your song. You've got a lion inside of those lungs. Get up and praise the Lord.
Right, let's take our seats. So we get ready for the next session. I think it was very informative, and that we should definitely look for to have another event like this where we can maybe do a little bit more of perhaps a workshop, or go a little bit more into finer details. As Marika was saying, she was speaking on a very high level, maybe broad view, but go a little bit more into detail in the finest things, so that we are a bit more clued up in that sense. And so one of the reasons that we are obviously here is to look to the future and to see what is coming, and make sure that we participate in the building process or in all of those things. Because many times we find ourselves hearing and knowing about things, but not really participating and sharing in that which is coming. But I just don't want to take more time, and let's give a warm welcome to the Honorable Governor, Andre Neville. Honorable Andre.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all. I should apologize for the late delay. I actually started off my journey last night, 9 o'clock from Ludretz, and just arrived for the event this morning. So I'm happy to be here. And I think it's a wonderful engagement that the church has prepared. And I think as a leader of the region, I'm not going to be specific. I was asked to look at the economic landscape in the region. So also just to inform you that Ms. Mariki was talking about US dollars. I'm not going to talk about any US dollars. I'm dealing in Namibian dollars. So don't, if I'm talking about the money here, I mean the funds here, just know that it's Namibian dollars, not US dollars. I'm not in that space. But I also want to concur with Ms. Mariki that, and I always say that Namibia can and will be the one of the important market in the African continent. One could say that Switzerland of Africa, because of the opportunities and the potential that it has. One could also say thanks to our departed president for the role he has played in quite a number of things. He has been, traveling around the world to sell the country, and we sometimes are now starting to see. Why I'm saying that is also, the type of people that are coming to see me as a governor of the region, that is very important. You find people coming just for a meeting all the way from USA to see me. And it is because of the potential that is in here, in the country, in the region. And also, I think two months ago, I was also invited to engage a business platform in London, where they want to hear what is there in Erongo region, not Namibia, Erongo region specifically, the opportunities and what they can offer. And I think platforms such as this one are very important, and what I want to advise is that we have heard, and also I will also share, but there are information. The information is there. Perhaps we don't know about the information, but what I will advise is that the specific information that we need after these presentations, invite specific institutions to come and give you more information. Invite Petrofund, invite the Ministry, of Trade and Industry, Mines, and so on, and say, we are SME, what are the information, what are the policies and so on, specific need or opportunities that we can take within your specific mandate. So that's my take, let us do that. But I think this topic that you have shared, you are discussing today is quite critical because it is a topic, if I can read it, is the changing business landscape and opportunities arising from these changes. This topic is very critical and important and fitting for a town like Walvis Bay, because Walvis Bay is a hub of commerce and industry and also a key contributor to the Namibian economic growth. And we are seeing that taking place, because if one is saying Namibia is a very important market, about, say, 60% of what you are saying, you are talking about Walvis Bay, because of Walvis Bay, what it has and what it can give. So it is indeed important to know that the topic that we are talking about, not only is it talking about Namibia, but it's talking about Walvis Bay in particular in the region. So my engagement or presentation or statement, whatever you can call it, I will not look at specific sector. I will look at the broad, different other sectors, or because you asked me to look at the economic landscape in the region. And around the region, we are very fortunate to have so many industries, sectors, and also new industries that are coming up, and also others that have not yet been identified. So the current short-term future and the long-term future is very bright for Namibia and Walvis Bay in particular. And we also see that the world is undergoing a profound economic shift, and Namibia is no exception, and particularly Walvis Bay. And we have seen over the number of years, we have witnessed a disruption in terms of economic, where you have seen the economic downturn in the world, which affected also Namibia. And also we have seen the different behavior of consumers in addressing or looking at the commodities. We have seen the challenges of drought, which I think in this area around the region we have observed or suffered about 8 years of drought, areas of Daura's constituency, and this really also have a very impact. Of course, it's global, but it is locally also giving that impact as a country. And then also we have seen COVID-19. All these are disruption to our economy. And all this allowed or made us to have a different mind change, to change the way of doing things so that we can adapt to these challenges that are giving. And now we are looking at, to adapt to these changes. We are looking at digital technologies that will respond to the new way of doing things. And also, what is also going to help us in these challenges that we are seeing is we need as business people to be innovative and also adapt to these new changes that are coming to us. And therefore we are seeing a global trend that is taking shape. Old way of doing business is not going to work anymore going forward. But we have new technologies that are assisting us that we can use. But what is important again is that we therefore need to be more innovative to be part of that industry or that change. And we are seeing therefore a rise in e-commerce where we have to, deal with our businesses on internet. You can no more do all the ways of doing business. This time around, you must get into the, systems of internet. You also see, of course, digital banking. If you are not in that, you'll be left behind. There's no more checks that you used to write. I was in London and China sometimes back, and when you go there, people don't even use cards to swipe. They use their phones. They just tap. And that is the space that we are looking at in terms of going forward. Automation, people are getting lesser and lesser in terms of operation, and it's just a button that will operate and do things. And green energy industries. Now, these green energy industries is also looking at sustainability. Of course, we are getting more and more in terms of population, the world, I think about 6 billion, and the resources are getting limited, and our future is becoming risky or compromised. So the need to bring in sustainability is also something that we are seeing it's rising, and there are also more facilities in terms of funding towards that. And for us as a country, specifically Walvis Bay, who is country's principal port and logistics and transport sector, has also experienced significant growth with the potential to ever greater expansion as trade routes shift and global supply chain management or recalculation. And that is also something that we are seeing. It's growing, and it's also an opportunity that we need to get into. So technology in the business, in terms of transforming business, is very critical, and it's also influential in driving the change or changing landscape. Now you've seen that the old things that we used to do, there's a change in the landscape, economic landscape, which going forward we need to address, and we need to perhaps get into that space. And that is now where innovation, and of course, small businesses, large businesses, they need to recognize this change in landscape, and also they also need to embrace digital solutions, which is no longer an option, but it is essential for survival and growth of your business. We see that the digital platforms are revolutionizing, the way of how business should reach customers and also transform how business operate internally. And also looking at, in terms of doing business, remote work, in terms of digital marketing, and data-driven decision-making. And that is where now we have also to look at if you want to have a new business that will be relevant to the new landscape, changing landscape. And of course, for entrepreneurs and small businesses, owners, for us in the region, it presents a tremendous opportunity. So those are some of the areas that you should also focus if you want to still continue play in the industry or business area. Through access to digital tools, we can even enter into the global stage and reach customers where you are. Here in Walvis Bay, you can speak to, bigger. You have been informed that, as oil and gas, there are bigger companies outside there. You can sit here and engage them and contact them, and that is exactly, you have online platforms that you can engage them, and also new ways of doing business, creating feasibility, flexibility, reduce operational costs, and increase scalability. So this is what the advantage we have with going into the new landscape. Now, one of the major shifts that we cannot overlook is the global and national push towards sustainability. And the world is transforming or transitioning to a green economy, with governments and businesses alike increasing recognition or recognizing the importance of environmentally friendly practices. And this shift presents unique opportunities that we surely are having, particularly in the energy sector. And we as a country in Walvis Bay or Erongo region, we are very perfectly positioned to play in that space and to lead this transition because of, Walvis Bay, Swakopmund has a very good potential opportunity in the renewable energy resource or development because it is driven by the natural conditions and growing infrastructure need. We as a country, we are one of the world's best solar radiation in the world. You cannot get one of the best solar radiation in the world than here. We also have one of the fastest wind speed in the world. And this gives us an opportunity to be a leading country or producer in that renewable energy space. Hence, of course, this also reduces the dependency to the traditional fossil fuel, which of course it's also, we are lucky to that we are in both spaces currently. You don't find that anywhere else. And this, therefore, you have the sun solar radiation, sun and the wind, which plays a very important potential for us, particularly in Walvis Bay, to get into the wind and solar development or energy development. Therefore, investing in this renewable energy source can help Namibia achieve energy independence. We are importing energy from our neighboring countries, but we have the opportunity and the potential to domestically produce our electricity or energy, and also to transport to our neighboring countries. And because of the potential that we have, of course, this also has therefore a import or the interest that we can have our own production in the country for residential and industrial sector. Our industries are growing, more industries are coming up, and we need energy for that. And again, also this will also help us to create more jobs once we have our domestic electricity or energy produced here. And also it will stimulate our local economy and attract more international investment. We are also happy that Namibia is one of the shining examples in many other performances, be it a more stable, peaceful country which investors want to see. We always rank number one or high on the freedom of press, gender equality, in terms of in leading positions. So all these things really gives opportunity or contribute to the positive outlook going forward. Much has been mentioned about the oil and gas industry that we have onshore and offshore along the Namibian coast, which also presents opportunity for economic growth. And I think it has been mentioned where we can go in and how we can go in. And I was also having a discussion with Ms. Mariki that I think sometimes we need to understand and not to go beyond the expectation of the industry that is bringing. But of course, engagement such as this one, for people, for all of us to understand where can we get into this space. We have about 6-7 years until actual processing. What do we do preparing for those 6 years? You don't want to come at the exact date or year of processing and want to be included. The train has already gone. It's gone already. So you need to therefore prepare yourself to get into that. What is also, which I will also share in terms of the green hydrogen, the good thing is that the two industries, for me, who is receiving, like I said, I'm not an expert in a specific industry, but you see it is complementing. It is not, because there's this notion that you're talking about oil and gas and you're talking about green hydrogen. But on the ground, we are seeing complementary developmental change taking place. You were told what are the fields of studies or the the services that is needed on oil rigs, those services are also needed at this green hydrogen project, which of course I will share later. And I will not mention quite the paragraph I have on oil and gas. I will skip. But I was also, Ms. Mareki was very soft in talking about the refining capacity, which should be another discussion. But it is something that, of course, we need to understand whether, you will need or you will want to have an oil refinery here, looking at because in terms of oil and refinery and so on, it's a huge activity, and you need to have maximum capacity to, of course, get into that refining process. And you need to have, because it's quite a huge one. So it's something that as a country, we still need to have an in-depth discussion and also look at whether we either need it or whether and of course, sometimes it's, you don't decide, you have companies outside that perhaps have that capacity, they will want to bring it here or shift their refinery from where they are to Namibia, but it's something that it's a discussion to go for another day. Now, I want to just also share with you green hydrogen. As I said, as a country and a region specific, we are fortunate. Nationally, the country is looking at, I think, about 44, let me just check nicely, I think about 44 projects of green hydrogen. No, 26, and Erongo region is earmarked to have 9 green hydrogen projects. Currently, we have 4 under construction, green hydrogen projects. And there are 2 of those 4 are sort of government partnership with, that's the Clean Energy and the Dowries, with some sort of involvement of government, but then the other 2 are mostly private, HDF in Swakopmund and one also in around this area. So we have those 4, but recently I was also informed that another big one will also be announced, which will take just about 3,000 jobs. And now with the 4 that already in construction phase, we have about 1,000 job employed at those in different part of services. But then also with these 4 projects that we have also seen exactly what has been mentioned in the oil and gas industry, the services that are being used, and these are given to local SMEs: catering, transportation, security services, retail, accommodation. And these are the services that are coming from the local companies, which of course, I'm also urging you to think about it. So I said it's 4 currently. You still have another 5 coming, and we could also, see how we could engage and get into those areas. What is also important is the component of research and development. These projects, they have some component of training with NAST or UNAM on some of the research and development, and that is also to see how do we get new information and new activities in the oil and gas, into green hydrogen. And local participation is also important. What we are seeing in the green hydrogen, the one in Daura's constituency, Daura's green hydrogen, it has 10% shareholding by the communities there in UIS, and they also start seeing that the people are also starting to get interest in terms of studies related to, or field related to green hydrogen. And these are exactly the same also that was mentioned in the oil and gas industry. So these are some of the areas that I want to touch on the green hydrogen. But there are some risks that, and also why I'm very happy when I mentioned that we should really commend the work and leadership of our departed president, is that some of the things that we are seeing in terms of the industries, institutions have been established, and as you know, he always used to say institutions, systems, and industry, and institutions, processes, systems, and institutions. So there is a green hydrogen council, which looks at the whole value chain and whole operation of green hydrogen. So they have also identified risks in the green hydrogen or into the projects in terms of operation. One is the access to land for these projects. The other is the lack of the capacity for rapid town transformation. And this is now in terms of human resource, financial resource planning, infrastructure, communication, and all those. And then also the other is the lack of skills development or development programs in terms of education and vocational programs aimed at the new emerging industries. It was also mentioned. The importance or the importing of specialized skills. And we are also saying that we have all this, but we are importing but it's the skills that we have that we need. The perceived lack of competitive attractiveness of Namibia compared to global market. So those are some of the major risks that have been identified. And what is also good, and that's why I'm saying that our departed president really was forward-thinking, visionary, to institutionalize these industries. And again, we also see oil and gas is also, there's industries or institutions that have been appointed or established to address some of the challenges that we are seeing the policies of local content and so on. So these risks mitigating factors have been identified to see how do we respond to the risks that we are finding in this green hydrogen. For example, we are told, like, if you have to mitigate the challenge or the risk of land, access to land, says we should identify a land data to know where are the areas and what, and accessibility and availability of possible developments, and streamline land application and allocation processes. So that is sort of the mitigating factor in terms of the land accessibility risk. So the institutions therefore looked at really what are the areas we have to do to address to those risks. The other industry or area that I think we have always had, but we never sort of knew that there's opportunity, it is the nuclear science and technology in Namibia. We have uranium in Namibia. I think Namibia is the third largest uranium producer in the world. And the first and the second, these are countries that also have operations in Namibia. So if you look at nicely, it could be perhaps maybe the second after, is Canada and the second, one of the major uranium producing. So now we have this nuclear science that we have, that it is a major game changer, that can be a major game changer. But of course, we need to start exploring the potential of the nuclear science technology in application to advance Namibia's social economic development. And this, some of the key areas, the potential key areas that we can get out of this sector is, for example, the industrial applications, the radiation medicines, nuclear fuel cycles, food and agriculture research. So we have uranium, and all these things we can further transform in these specific areas. Now, I want to extend an invitation to you that we also want to start getting people to know more about this sector. We will be having a Namibian Atomic Energy Board, which will host the second National Nuclear Science and Technology Conference from the 23rd to the 25th of October 2024 here in the Rongo region. And we would want to, therefore, give that opportunity for us to see, to understand, because this conference is aimed at bringing together policymakers, scientists, experts, and nuclear industry players to explore the potential of nuclear science and the application thereof, which we can, of course, also make use of it to. And I think in terms of, if you want to look at energy production, the uranium has a modular, where you can create or transform or generate energy from the nuclear, or so it is safe. safest, very safest than all the other production of energy. Then I want to touch on blue economy, which presents us as a region major significant opportunities. Of course, we have a vast coastal line and the marine resource for sustainable economic development. There's quite a lot that we can take from there, such as fishing or fisheries, aquaculture. Many people think that fishing, quotas here, it's where, but aquaculture is not really maximally used here in Namibia. And you can also do quite a lot and get out a lot. And the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources has a specific department on aquaculture to assist projects of aquaculture. And I think that is also one thing that I want to share with you, to get into. So if we also look at the blue economy, there's marine tourism that can be expanded through infrastructure, value addition processing, and sustainable practices. As you know, we are home to most of the productive fishing grounds, and we have a potential to develop sustainable fishing or fisheries. Especially, the fishing industry has done a lot, but it can still do more in terms of us benefiting from it, socioeconomic development issues or activities. I was yesterday in Ludrets, and one thing that I saw, which I remembered when I was in London, I was approached by one business person. The seaweed, they are now producing, products out of seaweed, medicines, even handbags and beauty products. And I think we see quite a lot here being wasted, and that is also one thing in terms of blue economy that we also need to look at the opportunity, and that can also create revenue stream and also job creation for us. And again, also ensuring that we are having a clean environment for our coast. Marine tourism, in terms of blue economy, is also another promising aspect of blue economy. We have seen quite a number of visitors coming to Wafas and Swakop. If I have to share with you, last year October to this year June, we had 29 cruise ships docking at Wafas Bay, and the passengers that came to Wafas Bay with those cruise ships, we have counted to 29,843. Just over that. And that was a new market for them because of the conflict in Israel and Palestine. They feel that it's risky there, so they used this area. So they were testing. So we got 29,800 and so passengers through that opportunity. And what has happened was that many of them were just testing the market, so they will just come one day or a few hours, get off. Some people will not get off because they don't know it's Africa, the perception. And scared. But it is for us to market our tourism activities and say that they can, therefore, it's safe. It is, there's quite a number of activities, so we also need to come up with more new activities that can entice them to get to disembark. And I'm happy also, I think the MSC has, we are in consultation with them. They have agreed that because this year, I think there was just one day, they have agreed next year, they will be having a 3-day stop in Waffelsbaai, and one of those days they will have a jazz festival just at the waterfront. So they will have artists that they will be coming with, and they will be performing here. So they are looking at about a jazz festival of 2,000 people. So these are some of the things that really we are excited and we must capitalize on. And again, issue of safety and security and peaceful and ensuring that our areas are safe. We also, as community members, need to give our part because it has a bigger contribution and impact to us as a town. Please bear with me. So that is the issue of the different ecosystem. The tourism industry that we have. Now, when you look at all these opportunities that I've shared with you, you can clearly see that there's a business landscape change that is there, that is coming, but it is for us as Namibians to change or to shift our mindset, particularly the young people and those also generally involved in the industry. Entrepreneurship, very important. We need to get into entrepreneurship, and also we need to see more individuals choosing to forge their own path rather than seeking employment. Create your own employment. The opportunity is there. There are so many things taking place, and there are so many information that are there, and all this can be done if you just change your mindset to say that, let me get into that. A entrepreneurial spirit is very critical for our country's future, because there are vast of opportunity for small businesses in emerging sectors such as tourism, technology, logistics, and agribusiness. And of course, our local economy is diversifying, there's room for innovative ideas and solutions tailored to address our needs in getting into the Namibian market. So, government is committed to supporting and creating a conducive environment. What is this conducive environment that government is creating? And I want to also sometimes just get specific, into that. I've mentioned the different types of sectors that are here, that are also coming. We have, it was mentioned, the NIPDB, that government is also trying to engage investors that are coming and help them to invest properly into the country. We have the road networks. Currently, you are seeing between Usakos and Karibeb, we are expanding that road. It is for the opportunities here and to ensure that we have more trucks coming in. We are now extending the railway to Botswana, so linking our railway to our neighboring countries to to allow them to be able to ship or to bring their goods into the country. We are now also constructing the road Endis by Uis Kamanyap. That road is going up to the north to tackle the Angolan trucks so that they can come through this side. And then you have an option, and also to lessen the trucks only once. The international airport of Walvisbay is in the plan of being upgraded because of what we are seeing taking place. The harbor of Walvisbay, North Port, between Langstrand and Quisepond, that area that is fenced off, that's North Port. It's called North Port. The Namport that area will be 1,300 hectares of land that will be earmarked for oil and gas and green hydrogen. So these are new industries that are and have been identified to actually have a space. So that is the environment that we are talking about. And the other, policy issues that have been mentioned to address that, indeed we have a conducive environment to respond. And of course, like I said, we also need we have programs in different areas that look at how do we provide access to funding, mentorship and training. And as I said, these programs are there in government. We just need to identify the institutions to come and talk to us so that we have better information. And sometimes also you have leaders like myself, if you have challenges in specific processes or specific policies, approach us so that we can elevate these challenges that we have to the central government. I represent the president, and everything in every platform I engage, I must report to the president. And every challenges I receive from communities, I must take it up to the president so that we can see how, and that is, why I'm a governor in the region, to link that challenge or to link the public with the central government. So I'm happy that Kingdom Gateway Ministries is initiating this platform to sort of be a beacon of support to aspiring entrepreneurs by engaging or encouraging faith-based principle in business practices by having such platform. And of course, surely, I just want to urge that you continue to have such discussions. People, you're also seeing that church is not only about also just preaching and sharing, but also get out to the different components of society and help people to at least understand, so that people, you have, like yourself, you have church members that are business people, so church must also help in helping the communities and their members. And I'm also very, close to the clergy, to the church community, where many of our activities, or my activities, I share with, the church community, so that we can easily address the community at large. So I think I have left out quite a lot, because I also wanted to speak to specific towns' opportunities, but I will not share that. But I will share the statement, the written presentation with the organizers and perhaps share with you. Because each town in a Rango region have specific opportunities that we can get into. And one of it, I will also share, last week the Arandes Town Council announced their strategic plan and in terms of economic business opportunities and the forecast of the activities in Arandes. That will also be shared. Handisby also has quite a number of opportunities in different areas. So all those I'm going to skip. But what is important is the landscape is changing. And we must seize the opportunity in these changes. We must move with a new way of doing business, with the new opportunities that are coming, and we therefore need to be innovative for us to get in there. The Rongo region has a lot of potential, and we as residents, we must stand up and get involved in those industries and opportunities so that we are not left behind by the train and run behind the train. We must jump already before it is passed. So that is the nutshell that I would want to share with you. And also just to say that Walvisbay is located strategically with resources that are rich. It is the heart of transformation. For us, we must continue to work together, guided by the principle of collaboration, sustainability, and innovation. Let us also embrace the new business landscape and ensure that we are not only adapting to the change, but we lead this landscape change. Thank you very much.
faithful you are, and faithful you'll be. Thanks be to God, it's always been my testimony. It's always been my testimony. So with hands lifted high and my heart contrite, with the fruit of my lips I will bless you, God. Let this praise be my sacrifice. So I'll build an altar and I will remember, and I'll never forget all that you have done. So I'll build an altar and I will remember, and I'll never forget all that you have done.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Honourable Governor. I just want to ask, how will the oil industry and the gas, the hydrogen gas, impact the fishing industry in Walfish Bay?
Yeah, I think, like I said, they are not competing. Currently, like we and she will know, most of the oil that have been discovered is in the Orange Moon area, the Orange Basin, not yet involved the Quisap Basin. But I think it is complementing each other, and in terms of, the only thing that I see as governor is that the employment, the people that are working on the fishing, they are now being snatched to the oil and gas in terms of work opportunities, the pilots and all those. But I think it's an industry that is working together. There's no conflicting operations. They are complementing one another. So we should not be worried that now that oil and gas is coming, fishing is going to be destroyed. Namibia also is very, very careful with environmental impacts. Anything that is taking place, there is an assessment, and you must go through that. And I think that also gives us a clear, sort of surety that indeed the fishing, the marine resource will not be impacted or destroyed by the operation of oil and gas. I hope it's clear. Okay, but we can have a bilateral engagement on that.
Afternoon, Honourable Governor. I have 3 questions. I will start with a much simpler one. The MSC cruise ships, do you know the exact date when they are coming in, or is it still under negotiations, or still under
They are coming,
discussion?
the specific one is coming in March.
Next year?
Yeah, but the season of the cruise ships starts October to June. From October to June, that's the cruise ship season. So that whole time, you should therefore prepare yourself to receive the cruise ships.
Then the second, I think it's the second and third question will just, yes, it's non-Namibians coming into Namibia. What foreigners or non-Namibians that is coming into Namibia for opportunities, business opportunities, what legislation do we have in place in protecting our locals or the SMEs? Because there has been some instances where, say in the biomass industry, where most of the local guys are not educated or till a certain level. So some of the what they are busy doing is we are usually exporting our charcoal and biomass to Arabic countries, but now most of them are coming into Namibia, cutting out the middleman or the importers. Then they are going straight to the farmers or the guys that are working with the stuff. And what they are actually doing is they're also grinding the guys to lower their prices. So how is the government, what legislation is in place to protect the locals? Because the thing is, like I said, most of the guys, most of the locals that is coming into the biomass industry, some of the guys have big farms and some of the guys are just starting. But how are we protecting, or the government protecting the local guys from being exploited? Or and is there, even with partnerships, is there a place in the government where they help the locals with negotiations and see that the partnerships are not biased and only helping one individual, and the locals does not get the full benefit that they should receive? So this is currently what is happening, not only in the biomass industry, but also in other industries.
Yeah. First is we have, I think, the right institution to have that engagement is the NIPDB. Of course, first is that we are inviting investors into the country, and we also tell the investors, as one of the incentives to have a ease of doing business in Namibia, is that foreign companies, of course, they must be registered in Namibia. There's not really some sort of discrimination in terms of operation in the country, but what I know is that there are specific industries that are protected for the Namibians alone, where you cannot import, but you have to, there are some industries that I think have been, there are about 5 of them, which I cannot remember now. But these are industries that, government want to just, have a clear focus and assistance to the local people. But what is also important is that, we have a small market as a country, and would want to invite more or investment into the country. So we have that kind of challenge, but important is that we need to protect our people. We need to ensure that our people also grow from a smaller SME to a big companies. So I think what I'm actually, advising is that, such a engagement, we have to invite the NIPDB as well as the Ministry of Trade and Industry to give us, and I can assist in getting that invitation for a specific day for you to come and give those challenges to them. So, but I think there are specific industries that are protected for only Namibians, and that's also, where you cannot import some of those goods if we have them here available in the country. So yeah, if I can just, advise that.
Good afternoon, Mr. Governor. This question is for Mrs. Marika. Sorry. Marika, sorry, I didn't took the chance to ask the question. We're on the platform.
Maybe you can ask bilateral after, during the break. I don't know.
Okay.
Mr. Governor, the price of property here in Walvis Bay, and moreover, I don't know specifically what's the price of property all over Namibia. For example, I don't know what's the price of property in Windhoek. But the price of property here in Walvis Bay are growing. To acquire land for business purposes and for housing purposes, the price are expensive for land. So, for example, the price to buy property for business is so expensive, so the Namibian can't afford it. And then the foreigner come and buy the property, the land. So you have to rent now for your business from a foreigner in your country. It doesn't sit right with me. What can be done about it for the prices on property?
Yeah, I think it's just one thing that needs to be done is to regulate prices. And we currently are not really regulating prices. Of course, we are in an environment that is a free economy, free market, free economy, where you give, it's free for anybody to whatever you afford. But you are right. You cannot be in your country and you not afford, but the foreigner can afford, and you then rent from the foreigner. But I think it's important that we start looking at regulating prices, so that there is a limit of, and that currently I think is not yet there. The policy is not yet there, and it needs to, I think, get introduced, so that we address. And you see, the thing is also one of the, if you look at the housing situation in the country, specifically Wafers Swakopmund, Wafers, we have a housing backlog of 25,000 people that are on the list. Swakopmund, we have 22,000 housing backlog. And where are these all? Of course, you all know where they're staying and how they are staying. So the issue of affordability in housing and so on is something, of course, that we need to look at. The challenge that we have in Walvis Bay is also the boundary of Walvis Bay is also a challenge. We are surrounded by by the Dorop National Park. So the town itself cannot really expand much, but we have also requested for the expansion of the boundaries so that we are able to build more houses and so on. But if you look at Wafers alone, those that have been, that are originally born here, Wafers was constructed or was established to only accommodate about 35,000 people. And currently we have about 110,000 people. And that is, a challenge that we have. So in terms of expansion, we need to look at it. And we also need to look at the affordability. As you know, people are coming to Wafers Bay for the search of good life and better opportunities. So more and more people will be coming.
Okay, thank you. Another question is, the local banks in Namibia, Standard Bank, FNB, all those banks, if you buy a property from them, I don't know to whom the banks belong to, but if you buy a property or whatever, the interest rates are very high. In comparison to America, there you get America and those overseas countries. I feel this is exploitation to the Namibian or to the Africans. What can be done to the interest rates? Because if you buy a property from them, you pay more than 3 times the price at the end of the day. So these banks, I think they're busy with exploitations.
You see, the problem is just that we don't have banks owned by Namibia. These banks are South Africans. They take decisions. They're in South Africa, and they, at some point, I had, during my youthful active years, started an engagement which perhaps could be a bit of a risky engagement, to say that perhaps it's time for us to have our own currency and de-link from South African rand. But that has quite a lot of risk, and we must prepare our whole sector, our whole economy to be on its own, because there's a lot of things that are, so we are hugely linked to South Africa. Our banks are decided in terms of the operations and so on. So perhaps what can be done is we must have our own locally owned banks that can look at our situations and our people's affordability. But in terms of space, yeah, we had GIVF to get into the space. It didn't work, but yeah, it's something that I think also private sector should also come in to see how do we have our own economy and not economy that is linked to South Africa. But it's a risky discussion, because you don't want to start that discussion and then South Africa start switching off. We are very much, and it cannot switch off now. It starts switching off, then we are, but we have now oil and gas that is here. We have green hydrogen, all these industries. Perhaps they can boost us in terms of our capacity to be on our own, I think.
Yes, Mr. Governor. Trasco Bank also relinquished their license now back to Bank of Namibia, so our private bank is also gone now. My question to you, Mr. Governor, is I'm so privileged to be in the logistics sector, and we are currently also busy working with the big oil majors. So I see they have big bucks. So my question to you, Mr. Governor, is seeing that we have huge oil majors in play now in the oil and gas sector, I'm not sure if in this regard they will only focus in the upstream market. But seeing that some of them like Total, BP, Puma have also interest in the downstream sector, will they also form part of this new discoveries automatically in the downstream sector? Seeing that we have NAMCO that can penetrate the sector totally and add value locally. My question is just stemming from just to eliminate double dipping from just major players. Do we have a regulatory body to oversee and have oversight over it? That's
one
my
part
question.
of your question, Marik is saying no. I said say no. I think the first part. One part of your question, when I was looking at Marik, he said no.
Which one?
The first one. What was that?
Will they automatically form
the
part?
upstream and downstream.
Yeah, will they form part of the downstream sector?
They are already here, and the downstream is also regulated. Competition Commission sort of encourage competition, so they will be allowed to compete with NAMCOR. Currently, NAMCOR might go out of the downstream and focus on the upstream, so that the other companies can participate. So, but there's a lot of things happening in the downstream in terms of who should participate and who not. But as far as NAMCOR is concerned, they must focus on their niche. So, and then Competition Commission in terms of that it's regulated there, it's regulated by the Ministry of Mines. So there's a lot of regulation around that.
That's it.
Good afternoon, Honorable Governor. So the question that I wanted to ask was just now in regards to policy. Initially, when Ms. Mariki was speaking in terms of how Petrofund has then been able to fund people to go and study, it was because of policy that was then instituted by our forefathers. Obviously, because of, I would say, let me just call it ignorance, because we didn't know about this, but this is something now that I learned. We're able to hold our leaders accountable to say, but there is policy in this regard. Why is this not happening? So then basically the question just comes down there, perhaps are there policies that we currently also don't know about, even in terms of like the economic changing situation, as is right now in terms of the green hydrogen and so forth. Yes, it speaks to solving the problem, but are there policies that also speak to how we can make sure and ensure that Namibians are included? I know the colleague at the back here asked in terms of foreigners coming in. Yes, I know there is the Immigration Control Board. If you're going to employ someone from outside, there's a procedure. But how are there policies in place that we can ensure that Namibians do benefit from these resources? Because most of it was more of like supporting services, but more in terms of Namibians being actually receiving support from the government to be actively involved, even in terms of the production and so forth. And God willing, we are aware that in your next phase of your political phase, we'll see you moving into Parliament. Can we then say that we will then, I've approached your office before together when I initially pitched the agricultural project.
Don't prophesy. I know you're in church.
But this is where you say I receive governor. But yeah, as I was saying, then this speaks into us saying that I know you to be a man, it was always an open door policy. If I needed help, you could always come to your office. Will it then be say that once you get there, will you be a thing of like you will push for these policies? Because I think most of what we're noticing, there's a lot of lackluster in terms of policy. Because if there's no policy, we can't hold leaders accountable. Because on my side, it was more of a thing of like, I think it came more from your goodwill. It's like, no, but I have connections. I can help you here. I know who and I know who. Yeah, that's what I've experienced, but there's no policy that I can stand on as an Namibian citizen and be like, no, but like according to the act of so forth. And then if need be, then we can even approach the courts to hold leaders accountable. But if there are no policies, how do we then do it? Yeah, that's just my question.
I think there's a saying that goes that in Africa, we have good policies, but lack implementation. And I think, and that is one thing what is important is service delivery. We have a challenge here and there of service delivery, and that is what we need to address. And the civil service system that we have is not aligned to sort of one implementation. Of course, you might have a political will, but in terms of the technocrats, you also need to change. It says something about if you are saying that, 8 to 5, you need to give services, and you go to a specific office, 4 o'clock the person is already gone home, and that person perhaps need a information that is life and death. So I'm saying that I think what is important is we also need to look at how do we retrain our civil servants to ensure that policies that are there are either effectively introduced or informed to our people, or the funds that have been allocated for that specific service is going to that service and not send it back to the national cake, but to effectively implement it. But also the other thing is, in terms of service delivery, the challenge that we also have sometimes is also the capacity. We don't have the skills sometimes for a specific implementation. And therefore, we also need to train our people and not to get somebody from outside the country to come and advise us on how to, so some of the skills that we might need to be able to produce or to give services is also a challenge. So it's a different kind of approach that we need to look at. I know that in terms of service delivery and interface between the political leadership and the office bearers to sort of ensure that they speak the same language. We have the NIPAM, the Institute for Public Training, but we also need to see how do we strengthen their trainings to sort of bring the civil servants at par in terms of ensuring that what the political leaders are promising and it is given to government to implement, it is effectively implemented. So those two bodies and institutions need to be aligned so that we can have a maximum implementation of our policies. The policies are there. It's just the execution that is a problem. And the institutions must just talk to each other. Yeah, but it's something that also need a mind change. Yeah. Thank you. The last question. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Governor. I think he has given us a broad perspective and on the various industries and what is happening in those industries. So I think further on, if we do our research from that which was shared with us, we'd be able to, go into those areas and find out the relevant information. But all these sessions that we've had, the 2 sessions with the Q&A, has been recorded or live streamed on our YouTube channel, which is Kingdom Gateway Ministries, and will remain there. So if you desire to go and listen again and get some of the information that was shared, you are able to do that. So please feel free. Everything up there is most free, except for your data that you pay. I just want a quick thank yous once again to our guest speakers. Thank you so much, the Honorable Governor, and then Marika, was it Mariki Kruiner. Thank you so much for taking out the time to share with us and again share the relevant information. We found it informative and beneficial. Then also to all our delegates that are here, that took out the time to be here, thank you so much. We appreciate the time that you took out, and we have enjoyed our time with you. It was a joy hosting you. And then also to all the people that helped behind the scenes for organizing this event, we really say thank you. Without these things, without you, it's not possible, all right? And then just the last announcement, can we have some men that stay behind just to help with packing away the tables, etc. But otherwise, thank you for being here. God bless you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Breathe deep. Faith will rise. His word will not be void. His truth will be my light. What good is it to gain the whole world but lose your give you control.